Good evening, and welcome to another edition of My 15 Minutes. My name is John. This is my channel, the Old Folks Boogie 2 channel. And my 15 minutes is just that. I take 15 minutes a day since January 1st of this year, 15 minutes a day to talk and say whatever I feel like saying. And just putting it out there and seeing if anybody will actually pay attention to it. I don't really expect it because there's really, I'm not, I don't have a whole lot to say that interests many people, to be truthful. But who knows? I have two children, and maybe someday this will give them some enlightenment. Who knows? I have no idea. They're my children, but they certainly don't know my stories, or at least all of them. They know the stories that I filled them full of when they were young. You know, um, we talked about mountain cows. Do you remember that? Do you remember mountain cows out there? Anybody? Those are the cows that are, you know, have legs shorter on one side than the other, so that when they walk around the mountain, they don't fall over and kill themselves. So they can walk all the way around. Mountain cows, mountain horses, mountain goats. uh, I can't tell you how many full of crap stories I fed my kids when they were young and impressionable and willing to listen. And then later on, they found out that their old man was full of crap, and and they know that to this day. Oh God, man, yeah. But yeah, well, last night I was talking about mistakes I made, accidents I was in, foolishness. Um, it's really interesting that I was not the easiest teenager, and my daughter Anne Marie was not the easiest teenager. However, she got her act together a whole lot sooner than I did. So, but yeah, don't you? I just, for instance, I don't regret my time in the Army. Truthfully, I do not. I spent 3 years, and some of it was really bad, some of it was okay, some of it was really good. But if I had to do it all over again, and if I understood, anything at all, I would, have changed. I wouldn't have done it. I shouldn't. Well, yeah, you can't change the past. You know that. But, you know, I regret taking that route. I regret using the personal life at home when I was a child and my mother's alcoholism to force me to make decisions that, were life altering. Um, I can't tell you why, for sure. But I just, I knew at the time that I needed to get out of there. I just couldn't deal with that anymore. I still can't. I am not. I could have been an alcoholic easily. I surely have the gene, and I surely know what it's like to want to stay, completely messed up so that you don't have to think about anything or do anything. And I could have done that. I could have gone anyway. I could have been an alcoholic, could have been a heroin addict. No speed, though. I would have never done that. Or I did do it, but I mean, I didn't like it. It wasn't, I don't like being jittery. I like being, so, um, but, I don't know what this, this just, I could have done it. I could have been there, but I decided that I would rather not live that way. I'd probably been dead by now if I had gone that route. I'm sure of it, actually. The You don't know. I mean, you don't know what could happen to you in whatever time you've got. Every decision you make changes things. And so here I am, decision after decision later. I'm 70 years old and running out my clock. You know, so in doing that, you think back on what you've done, what accomplished, if anything. My accomplishment isn't even, I didn't accomplish much in my lifetime. I fathered and helped raise two children whose mother I give most of the credit for having them turn out, the way they did, which is, pretty good. I really, you know, better than me. I mean, they are doing better at their age than I was at their age. So that's where that's at. But nonetheless, here it is, a life lived, if not well lived, at least lived. But so you look back and you think about the stupid things you did when you were a kid. Um, the trouble you got into, the time you spent away. There's there's always some regret, I'm sure. I don't know if anybody, I don't know personally anybody who didn't, get to be this age and not have some regret about something that they did in their lives that they, not happy with, not happy the way that things turned out, whatever it is. I mean, I am lucky in that my wife, Susan, the mother of my children, um, was the person she is, or is the person she is, because I would not have been able to accomplish anything, or I wouldn't even be alive. I mean, I don't know what would have happened if we hadn't met and married. Um, at first, I did not, think we were going to have any children, but that changed, and then that turned out, so much better and different than I hoped. I are worried about actually. I was afraid that my kids were going to, mostly take after me. Now I do see some of that in Anne Marie, but less of it, more of Susan in Sam. I see more of my wife in Sam, and more of me in Anne Marie. Anne Marie's more the live moment to moment kind and I'm still there. I'm still doing that more or less. I mean, yes, I look, but yeah, Susan is the one that has the responsible attitude, and Sam takes after that. Hey guys, if you're listening to this someday and you think about it, I'm right, right? Oh God, yeah, you think back on your life, you're looking at 70 years of it right now. I can't even imagine how I got here sometimes. I mean, you know, actually, I was talking to my brother Donald today, and he's in the process of seeing if he can get another friend of ours to come and be the DJ at his wedding. And Ronnie, if you ever listen to this, I hope you come up and do it. I'd love to see you, brother. But here's somebody I've known for 40 years, 40 plus. Sometime we met sometime in 79, I think it was, 78 or 79. Ron, and who later became my best friend, Walter, and who else was it? Ron and Walter, and Jesus. And well, Ron, Walter. Oh God, you know what? That's really bad. I'd have to actually go. That really is bad. I can't remember the other band members' names, but Ron and Walter. Walter was the drummer, and Ron was the bass player and manager of the band Whitebridge at that time. And I had a friend. I don't know if he's getting considered a friend anymore. But a guy that I really loved at the time, name was Ross, and and he and I ran into this band down in Fort Washington at the Fort Washington Holiday Inn when it was a hot spot back in the late '70s, early '80s, and we met these guys, and we were cowboys. We were living out the urban cowboy myth. We we had a guy that was we knew and became it was a friend that had a place over on in Peddler's Village over at the Yard, actually next to Peddler's Village, still owned by Earl Jamison. But anyway, Gary had a spot there, and he was a Western shop, Western wear. So cowboy boots, cowboy hats, cowboy belts, cowboy vests, cowboy shirts, cowboy everything. I sometimes I can't even believe I went through it the way that we did. I still have the boots. I still have a lot of the hats. I still have a lot of the leatherware. Uh, None of it fits anymore, I guess, and most of it's probably in such bad shape you wouldn't want to wear it. But we were Philadelphia Cowboys. Anyway, so and we met the band. We really liked them. We started, talking to the guys, and we started going to see them all the time, and became friends. And Walter became one of my really best friends, and then Ronnie became a pretty good friend. God, what are the rest of the names? There was a couple girl singers. Anyway, they were a great band. I got to tell you that was they were a cover band, they did covers, and but they did other things. They could play anywhere. They could absolutely play anywhere, and they were really good. And we used to go see them all the time, and that's how we became friends. And I don't even know how we got off on this topic. I don't know where this conversation went from to or around. I don't even know I'm not even sure what I'm running my mouth about at the moment. So, but yeah, the life is what it is. It changes. You get all different, things happen. Walter passed on. I told the story of when we lived at Echo Farm, and my friend Howard, became my best friend, my best man at my wedding. He's also gone. It's hard to look back and realize that they are gone, but I'm still here, and I have a lot of regrets about the way things ended between both of those guys and me. They both left before I was ready for them to go, and it was I didn't stand up for either one very well. Maybe Walter a little bit better than Howard, but neither one of the endings was a pleasant thing for me. Maybe one of these days I'll tell that story, but well, yeah, I already said the Howard thing. I was really an asshole, really, for that. When he passed away, I was probably the biggest asshole that one person could possibly be to the family that was left behind. And I regret it to this day. I regret it. But I'm also manic depressive sometimes, although my depression hasn't been manifesting itself too badly over the last 20, 30 years, but occasionally. And then at that time, but then when Howard passed away, when that happened, I don't know exactly what was going on, but I remember being almost stunned into not being able to communicate at that point. I didn't go up for the funeral. I didn't even talk to Becky, his wife. I didn't talk to the kids. I didn't say anything, didn't send a card, didn't do anything. I was just, I don't know, a bad friend. Really bad at that time. And again, I regret it. I regret every minute of it. I was also godfather to Howard's daughter, And I was a crappy one at that too. Anyway, it is time. Oh, I just kicked a little tripod there for a second. Anyway, it's time to go. 15 minutes for the night are done. Time to get this thing uploaded onto YouTube and move on to the next day. Anyway, good night, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. Be kind to anyone you can. Good night.